What's going on, everybody? Prophecy with back at it again with yet another Voiceless Voice profile. This weekend I took top 4 at another case tournament, and yeah, I wanted to share the list with you guys. It's updated. There's some awesome new text in here, and yeah, I wanted to make sure everybody that's copying the list and playing it at their events is playing like the most up to date current stuff. So for starters, played 3 copies of Low. Heart and Soul of the deck, best card in the deck, best card in the game, right? So, always play 3 Low, of course. 3 Diviner and the 1 Trias. This should be standard. You should be playing this. Don't cut it. It came up for like a lot of stuff. Obviously, I did a combo tutorial where like this is in the best combo of the deck. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It definitely will bring some value to you. And I used it for like a few other things this weekend as well. Once I dumped in Tis, popped an anti-spell, and then played, so that was cool. Once I opened it with Low Saphira, so I Low Saphira did like the regular combo, and then I normal summoned it, dumped Trias, and left Trias in the graveyard, and then I was playing against Tempai. They go activate the Tempai field spell, activate the effect. I chain Trias in the graveyard, tribute the Diviner and the Low in the field to summon the Trias, pop the field spell on the resolution, untargeting. So that wouldn't resolve, and then in a new chain, I activate Diviner, especially summon a Low from the deck, so that was crazy. Diviner's insane. Definitely play 3 of it. We played 3 copies of Saphira. It's better pre-prep. I got Rivalry locked once over the weekend, and I barriered for Saphira, tribute set it, and then summoned a Skull Guardian, and then the next turn was able to get the Treb involved and with the barrier and just go nuts. So obviously, we play 3 Saphira. That should be standard. 2 copies of Skull Guardian. This has been the same. Never play 1. Never play 3. 2 is perfect. Then we played 1 Seravis. You use this all the time. I used it a lot of the times for summoning it. I used a lot of the times for the targeting effect. Never needed more than 1 copy of it. 1 is perfect. And then I play 1 copy of Pendulum Graph. I definitely would always include this. I think the deck is just like massively worse if you're not main decking this card. So yeah, these cards are all required. It should be exactly these 4. Make sure you play them. Then I played 3 copies of Barrier. I've said it a million times. This is the reason why you would play this deck rather than playing something like Snake Eye. This card is insane. Every part of this card is insane. Once per turn, search your deck is crazy. Blessings. There was no deck before Blessings. Card is crazy. Definitely don't play more than 1 of it. You just want to tutor this. Same thing with the Trap card. There's no deck without a Trap. Trap is insane, but you just want to tutor it. So these cards were all really good over the weekend. I would continue to play them. So make sure you're playing all of those. 2 copies of the Ritual Spell. I did a side decking video, and I showed that when I do go second and I'm looking to side in 10 hand traps, I side one of these out. So if you haven't checked out the video, go check it out. 2 you need in the main deck, though, because pre-prep is important. So you want to be able to resolve it, and you just need both copies. So 2 is perfect on the Ritual Spell. Then 3 copies of Nadir and Maximus. I wouldn't play the deck without these cards. I think these cards are like a big contributing factor to want to play this deck. I won like the round 1 against Whitewoods because they started playing, and I only opened like 1 hand trap, and they just like did a big combo. And then I opened Nadir, and I just was like able to crack their field and just like set up my own field and win past their board because Nadir's crazy. So it like forced their trap card immediately, and then like I summoned the Maximus and it forced their Book of Moon, where they would have had 2 Book of Moons, but this forced a trap card, and then I summoned the Maximus and forced the Book of Moon, and then I just played. So that was crazy. Card was insane. The entire tournament. So this card's always insane. It's one of the reasons you would play this deck. Make sure you're playing Nadir. Don't play any of the other options. 3 copies of pre-prep. The more I play this card, the more I realize just how insane it is. This card is just a requirement. Helps play by a shifter. This card's insane. So definitely need to be playing maxing on pre-prep. That's the same. 3 copies of Ash Blossom. The best hand traps ever printed. Super generic. Super strong. Not really much to say about Ash Blossom. I mean, you should be playing it. If you're not playing a deck that plays Ash, play a different deck. 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This card is really good. Performed really well. It's not once per turn. That's what I'm looking for. Ash Blossom's once per turn, but its effect is insane. So we played 3 Valor. I was really happy with this card. Would definitely continue to play it. It's super generic. Every single deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's good against, which is why I play it. 3 Imperm, because this is like modern Valor. It's just better. This is another one of the best hand traps ever created. Doesn't play any talents. You could 6th card this, and it's usually always still really good. And yeah, it was crazy when I seen it. So definitely play Imperm. Should continue to play Imperm. And then the new card, new kid on the block, Dominus Purge. I made a YouTube video about this card. This card is crazy. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. And this card was like the MVP of the deck and the tournament. This card was just absolutely incredible every single time I drew it. When I drew it with Imperm, it was literally crazy. It was just like Solemn Strike or like Ogre on Crack. And yeah, I would continue to play it. I mean, this card was absolutely bonkers. Never conflicted with anything. Never conflicted with the Ash Blossoms or any of the situations. Like I explained in the video about this card. This card is crazy. This card is like another contributing factor to like why you would play Voiceless Voice. I think the engine's just insane. Like, if you just play... Like, if you didn't have this in Nadir, in theory, you would still just play the deck. Nadir is a bigger factor of why we would play this deck, but this card more and more is just becoming a reason why you should be playing Voiceless. This card is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Super, super good. It was insane. We'll hop into the extra deck here quickly. I played the 1 copy of Anima, 1 copy of Almirage, 1 copy of Gardna. I think I made Anima once. I actually made these a few times. These are all required for like a few different plays. Then I played 2 copies of Dynamundo. I never actually summoned Dynamundo once, so like I would consider cutting one of these. But every time I cut a Dynamundo, I end up like opening like 4 hand traps in a low, and then using one, and then like getting in a grindy game state because I didn't make like the craziest combo, and then like wanting the second copy of Dynamundo. So it just so happens every time I do cut it, I like have a game where I need both copies. But this is up for consideration, and I'm going to be making a video about like what card I possibly would be wanting to play instead of it. So for now, I definitely would suggest playing 2 of it. The 1 copy of IP Masquerena. This card is really good. You make it as a lot of the M boards. So, yeah, you could like dodge, droplet, and you can just make Appaloosa with the deck super easily. There's 2 card combo. I made a video on it. And you can make it with like a ton of other combos, which I explained in that video. SP Medium Knight. This card I never made, but it's good. Like, you need it for the removal just in case. Appaloosa, I never actually ended up making the combo because I was just like winning without it. Underworld Goddess, I also never made this. The deck was just performing super strong, and I was just like stopping my opponent and like attacking him for game, or setting up a board that like they would just like scoop to. So I just like never had to like really make any of this, but they were good. The more I play the deck, the more my combos are just super, super strong. That I just like don't really require a lot of these cards. This I summoned a bunch of times because I summoned Pendulum Graph. And you summon Pendulum Graph, you summon this for free. So this I did summon a bunch of times. Double Intis. This I sent both copies of Intis in the same game multiple times. So this was really important. You definitely need to play this. Garua I sent a ton of times as well. The Trebrigade and the Herald, I sent these a bunch of times as well. If you're going first, you would be... like, if you're going first, you send these 3. If you're going second, you generally send, like, these 3. So these 3 for going second, generally. And then these 3 for going first, generally, is we do. So you really need all of them. And I thought the extract was pretty perfect. Not sure if I'd find a replacement for the second Dynamundo, but the last time I did and I played Daifon, I needed the second copy of Dynamundo, and I never needed anything in the extra deck. So I probably would just still play 2 copies unless I decide to replace it. So then on to the side deck where there's a little bit more of the spice. So if you guys came here for a lot of the differences, you guys have been watching the other profiles, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. And yeah, this is partially probably what you came here for. So 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. This card's always insane. Always have to play this card. Every time I drew it, I won. Simple. Anti-Fun Floodgate Fragrance. Drew this and won every time as well. So this card's crazy. And then the new card I played was There Can Be Only One. This card was crazy. This card is insane. It's just a super flood go. So I played this card instead of Called by the Grave. And the theory behind that was that if Called by the Grave only really needs to interact with Shifter, and you can just, like every other hand trap you can just beat. You have, obviously, your lines to beat Shifter, but I figured if I drew, like this card is just an auto win against some matchups. Like if you draw this against the U-Bell deck, they actually cannot win. They cannot play with one Fiend. They will just immediately lose. I drew it against like the Whitewood deck, and they like summoned a Whitewood, and then activated an in-hand effect, a chain, There Can Be Only One, and then they just like lose. And like they could do like the runic stuff, but I just like Saravis to negate the summon of like whatever they try to bring out to pop this. So this card like overperformed, and my thought was that any deck that like played Shifter, if I do draw the one Called by and I do get Shiftered, I can set this and like against Tempai, just like flipping this card is just the same thing. Like they can only summon just the one monster, so they're just gonna lose anyways, and you're just gonna play through the Shifter. And the times where they don't have Shifter, this is just infinitely better. And it's just like against like the Snake Eyes deck, they go Snake Eyes Ash effect, search Poplar, Poplar effect, chain There Can Be Only One. We're done with that. Like you could summon a Fiendsmith card, but then like you can't summon Phoenix. You can't also send any like. You can try to like summon 2 things and then like send them into Moonlight Goddess, but then you can't make the link 1. Like you just can't do any of the Fiendsmith plays with this, and then you can't do any of your regular plays with me having like the rest of the board. This card's just incredible. Like you just every time you draw this card, you win. And I figured all of the Shifter decks, like Cash, this card's insane against. Especially when I put it up with Omni Negates, and like I was able to make like I'm able to summon Skull Guardian, Low, and Pendulum Graph or Saravis with this card. So it was just like crazy. Pretty simple, right? This card was insane. I would highly suggest playing this. All the Shifter decks. This card's just insane again, so if you draw it, it's correct. So There Can Be Only One was definitely one of the big changes I made, and I would highly suggest playing it. I played the one Magnemite. Whenever I drew this card, I was just winning because Search Saphira or Saravis. This card is crazy. Not really much else to say about it. I don't play any other Bestials. Obviously, the Bestials like conflict with Dominus Purge, but it's well worth it to just play Magnemite because Magnemite's crazy. So definitely make sure you're playing Magnemite. Pretty self-explanatory on him. Then one of the other big changes here was we played 3 copies of Malt Charmy. Unfortunately, my QCRs didn't come in time, so I had to play like the regular secrets. But my QCRs are coming in tomorrow, which is going to be Monday. This card overperformed definitely this weekend, which is part of the reason I wanted to like make the updated profile, so that if anybody was copying this list and wanting to play it in a regional or any other kind of tournament, that you guys could make sure you're playing like the most optimized version. The chummies were crazy because I side out a lot of Engine. If you guys haven't seen the side decking pattern video, it's going to be the same side decking pattern, but we did side out a good amount of Engine. And this card like makes one of 2 things happen. They either give you like 3 draws, or they're always like at least giving you 1 draw, because every deck's going to normal summon, and like you just almost no deck can just play without giving you any draws, in which case it's just going to trade itself and give you more chance to draw like the immediate use hand traps. And with me main decking Dominus Purge is something that like you could interact, like your opponent normal summons an Alabur, like you want to Dominus Purge that. So like if you use this in the draw phase, which plays around talents by the way, you would want to draw into something like Dominus Purge, but you also want to draw into Valor. Imperm, like Ash obviously against that deck, you would want to wait for the Brain Infusion, but a lot of normal summons would require a lot of the cards that I happen to main deck, right? Valor, Imperm, Dominus Purge. So I thought that this was really good because it immediately gives you a draw, and every single deck is gonna normal summon, and then it has the potential to just give you like many draws. Where like if you're playing against a deck that that plays that way, it's crazy. And then it also just like draws you into your engine, draws you into like the other cracks cards like Nadir. And we played 22 hand traps, so this is just like drawing into hand traps, which is crazy. So this card overperformed. I played it against YuBell, and they were scared to give me draws, so they just like passed on Phantom, and I just like slammed him with Nadir and attacked him for game. Every time I drew this card, it was really good. I drew it like double of it in one round. Like I activated one in the draw phase. My opponent goes Ash Blossom. I go on Resolution, activate another copy, which is funny. This card is just definitely make sure you're playing this card. It's crazy. It's always going to get at least one draw, and it could just give you multiple draws. So this card is like what Phantasme wished it was. This card is like what the example I always use for like the definition of power creep. This card is crazy. The more I thought about it, the more I thought this card was just way better than Droll, because I played so many hand traps. My hand traps want to trade one for one. Like with the cards in your hand, you use like a few cards with your hand, and I'm trading hand traps with it. But like Droll is just like doesn't actually trade with anything. You just like may sometimes be able to pass them on Droll, but sometimes the Droll just doesn't do anything. Where like this card is going to do something every single time. It's going to make your opponent play awkwardly, and then also you trade and get more efficient trades because your opponent's playing awkwardly. So this card's super important. Make sure you're playing Chummy, please. Then next was 3 copies of Ghost Mourner. This is a card that I was main decking before the Dominus Purge. I think Dominus Purge is just like slightly more generic than this card, which makes it so that I think you should just be playing the Dominus Purge for sure. It's just a bit better of a card, but this card was still really good. I thought part of the like I wanted all the hand traps I played to be able to like you draw like to trade immediately, to trade before they create a fat board. I do not want my opponents creating boards. That just makes no sense to me. I think if you're playing a bunch of hand traps, you just want to stop them right here and now, because I'm not playing board breakers. I'm playing just like the only board breaker I'm really playing is Nadir, but we just play a ton of hand traps to stop your opponent here and now, and I thought that this wasn't one of the best 4 hand traps because I'm now playing Purge, but I think it was like the 5th best hand trap. Like Chummy, I'm obviously like is like super generic, and I think also can draw into this, right? Like you could like if they summon Witch from hand in Snake Eyes, usually like immediately can Chummy, or like if they normal summon Samsara Lotus in the YuBell deck, you can draw a card, and then like if they use the Lotus summon Spirit, you can like Mourn the Spirit, which is good. It has good targets in every single deck. I shouldn't need to go over them. I've went over them in prior videos, and they should be self-explanatory. This card is just super good. It's the next most generic, and I'm a huge fan of generic hand traps that you could side in every single time. Like there is no good combo deck in the entire game that you wouldn't want to just draw Mourner against. Every deck has a good Mourner target, and I'm a huge fan of like having 22 hand traps against every single deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! And obviously people are going to be like, oh, Flunder in the comments, but in reality, like every good combo deck, you have 22 hand traps against. So Mourner is the next best one, which is why I played it. And then I played 3 copies of Bell. I thought about playing Nib instead of this for a second, but I think Nib is just horrific against YuBell, and I think Bell is like the rope. So like Bell is good against Snake Eye and YuBell. I've already went over those interactions. The interactions are Sequentia against, or the sequence against both, and then it has like its own, like it hits like Flame Burge and Friends, and it hits like this like effects in the graveyard, like to special summon like the Spirit effect against YuBell, and then like against the rogue decks, like against the Mirror, it hits multiple different cards that are super strong. Against Branded, it hits multiple different cards that are super strong. Against Lab, it's the Egyptian God card, and Lab is actually what ended up winning the case tournament. So, Bell is like the best Rogue Slayer card, and I think that you need to include Bell, and I also think it's like the next best hand trap. It's also good against Runic, which I played against, so I definitely would highly suggest playing Bell. And yeah, I was happy with the list. I thought it was really good. I didn't make a lot of the extra deck cards, but a lot of it was like I was just like winning. I was second after Swiss, and then I just lost game 3 in top 4 to a good buddy of mine. He just won the Niagara Regional, and He's good. I think I could have. I played good. There was nothing I really could have done to win that, but I think it's like winnable almost every single time. It was just like not that match. It was fine. I had no complaints. Top 4 of a case tournament. Another plus. Um, I pulled a chummy out of my box that I had gotten. That was the best pull I had. So yeah, it was good. I would highly suggest you guys to play this deck. Love Voiceless Voice. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Thank you guys for supporting on all of the videos. It's been absolutely insane. I can't even believe how fast I've gained so much traction on YouTube. You guys are incredible. Thank you guys so much for commenting, all that good stuff. Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see. I have another, it's going to be an hour-long, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour-long combo video doing like 5 more combos with the Voiceless deck. It's going to be an advanced combos video of just a bunch of combos I think you guys haven't seen before. And if you guys haven't seen my other videos, I'd suggest checking them out. Some of the videos I went more in depth about some of the card choices, which is why I didn't go crazy with some of them here. I did go over all the cards that are new, I think more in depth. But yeah, thank you guys again so much. I appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next one shortly.